There we go. I'm gonna do it every time. A little bit of a late start today, but you know what? That's okay. What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Young Queasy. We are back at it again. About to get it popping. As you can see, this is episode 3 of Memoirs of an Aspiring Filmmaker. This series has started. Obviously, we're on episode 3. Have had 2 episodes before that. The first one broke down one of the first home films that I was involved in that really inspired me to pursue filmmaking in a more serious route. What's up, Dylan? I see your comment there. What's up? But yeah, so that's what we did the first episode. Broke down the Grand. You can see the channel if you can't see it on Twitch. My YouTube has it, so you can check it out on YouTube. But we did that first. Last week, we actually missed last week. Scheduling conflicts and stuff. I wasn't able to do the show, and then I was gonna do it. I thought about maybe doing it Friday, but then I said I didn't want to mess up the schedule, so I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna stick to my actual schedule, and I'll just pick back up the next week. So that's today. But then our second episode was over fight scenes, and we talked about. Of course, I'm a big action movie buff. I love action movies, and so the topic was just action scenes in specific. Sorry. In specific, more, fight scenes and stuff from popular movies and stuff, and some of my favorites and everything. And I went through a list of favorites, and there was more on my list, but I said, we'd pick that up on a later episode, so I'm still ready to do that too. But today is a new day, and today's a different episode. But before we get into the topic of the episode today, there was some news come across today that I found out about that I'd like to kind of talk about beforehand. So as you can see, the topic is Christopher Nolan, and for anybody who's not familiar with him, he is probably one of the greatest film directors, definitely of our generation, but I would put him on a much higher pedestal as far as all time goes. I think he's fantastic. I think, he's just one of the best, and we'll get more in detail on it later. But right now, I want to talk about some news that come across my radar today. I love horror movies. I'm a big horror buff. I've always loved horror. Anything horror, thriller, suspense, all of it. I love it all. And one of my favorites, I've said before, and actually I think I said it in my Alien stream, which we know how that went, but the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, 1974, is one of my favorites. It is one of the only horror movies to actually affect me and to get me feeling some type of way. And so it's extra exciting then when I see this come across. So I'm going to try to share the screen. I'm going to try to share it. We'll see. But I'll talk about it first just in case it doesn't work. So basically, I knew about this. I had heard about this earlier in the year that they were doing a new Texas Chainsaw movie. And they were taking kind of a Halloween 2018 approach where they were going to be nullifying everything after the original movie. And, we're going to pick up right where that one left off. And so this one's a direct sequel to that original movie, which I love so much. Already that excited me anyways. I'm not crazy about the sequels. There's a couple of them that I do like. Of course, the remake was enjoyable. I actually think I like the prequel to the remake even better. I know I'm probably in a minority for that, but I do think the prequel was better. I didn't mind the original sequel, Texas Chainsaw Part 2. It's, it was enjoyable, but it wasn't the same for me. Like I said, it's an enjoyable movie, but as a Texas Chainsaw movie, it didn't feel like it fit. 3D was, it was fun. I enjoyed it. If you just shut your brain off and don't think about, all the ties back. Of course, there's still some really dumb things. Some really dumb lines. Everybody knows the one line, do your thing, cuz, that nobody likes. But still a pretty enjoyable movie, with a decent, play out, of how the story went. I don't think it's a great movie by any means, but it was enjoyable. And then the Leatherface movie, and I think it was 2017. I actually really enjoyed that one as well. I know it was kind of polarizing. Some people loved it, some people hated it. I'm kind of somewhere in between there. I enjoyed it. I didn't think it was on the same level, but I did enjoy kind of the direction they went with taking it more serious, taking it more brutal. I'd say it's probably the most brutal of all the movies. So it's definitely is an enjoyable movie. But I love the Texas Chainsaw IP. And that original movie, like I said, it holds a special place for me. Um, so when I heard that they were making this new one, I got really excited. And I've been kind of following it for a long time. I knew that they had sold Netflix. I knew it was going to be a Netflix release, which I'm disappointed by that because I'd like to see it on the big screen. But you know, that's neither here nor there. I'm still excited to get the movie or whatever. And today, at least I saw it today. I think it released maybe yesterday or the day before. They released a trailer, the first look at what this new movie is. And I watched it earlier, but I'd like to watch it again too. If I'd have thought about it, I would have waited and we could have watched it as a reaction. But I didn't expect to talk about it tonight, so I'm gonna try here to get it pulled up. I have to pick. We're gonna do this one right here. There we go. Look at that. And then I'm going to. I don't know if I can do that on here. Oh well. All right. I was gonna see if I could bump the frames per second up, but I'm not gonna say anything during this. I'm gonna let it play through, and hopefully, it plays pretty smooth. I'm not gonna say anything because when I do it, it starts messing with the audio. So I'm just gonna press play. I'm gonna watch it, and here we go. Okay, hold up. Already, my quality not that great. We'll go 720. Just so. All right, let's do this again. Okay, so on Netflix. All right, so I have a lot of feelings about that. First one is I'm excited. I'm ready. Like I said, I love the IP. Leatherface is one of my favorite as far as horror icons go, and I'm really excited about where this could go. So yeah, that was some of the news that I got today that really kind of excited me, and I knew that when we did the show tonight, I did want to share it. One of the reasons I'm running a little behind today is because I was getting stuff together to show, just getting the different news and stuff. Let me get this closer. There you go. And looks like I'm gonna check real fast. It's probably gonna be every time I'm gonna have to do this. Make sure you can hear. Okay, so the audio sounds like it's lagging. Oh no, we're good. Okay. All right. So I'll leave that going so that way I can keep a monitor on it. All right, so yeah, how's everybody doing? I just wanted to get that little bit of news out of the way before we got to the topic today. it's been a crazy weekend. Already. Obviously, if anybody watched the Ding Nation, episode, 4. No, it's episode 3 as well. Episode 3. I'm just throwing numbers out now. Um, we did that Thursday, and it's gonna be going live every Thursday, and had special guest Mr. Bobby or Delta Denny's, or I think he was Thunder something. When he got on there, his name changes every time, but that was a lot of fun to have him on there. I appreciate everybody who come out and watched and interacted and stuff. We had a really good time, talking about who we would cast, as Matt Reeves' Joker. Obviously had a lot of different opinions. He said some people I wasn't expecting, such as Javier Bardem and who was the other guy he said that really. Well, James McAvoy. I didn't even think of McAvoy, and then when I seen his list, I was like, of course, James McAvoy. It didn't even dawn on me. So he had those, and obviously me and him agreed on Jake Gyllenhaal, and I thought maybe, throw in, who did I have? Yeah, Tom Hiddleston was one of my big choices. So had a really good discussion. So if anyone's interested in hearing the full length discussion on that, that was from Thursday. It's on the Twitch. Again, it's not on there yet, but it's about to be on the YouTube. So just trying to stay ripe with content, But real quick too, I want to do this, and I'll do it again at the end of today's episode, but I want to do it real fast while I'm thinking about it. As I said at the end of Thursday's episode, next Thursday, which is this coming Thursday this time, for Ding Nation episode 4, I believe. My numbers are getting mixed up. But episode 4, we have a special guest. And I guess I'll go ahead and announce him on here. And then I'm going to do make a post on Twitter and everything tomorrow, officially announcing him and everything. But one of my dear friends that I graduated with, me and him very close in school, and we've continued to stay good friends. After this, we've gone into business together. We've done a lot of different things together since graduation, and I'm excited to bring him onto the show just to tell his story. He's done a lot of things, more than most kids. 5 years out of high school, he's done a lot of cool things, interesting things, everything from owning businesses to investments to even some, things that, are going to be maybe a little even more on the tough side to talk about, just talking about, health complications and everything, and just talking about how to move forward. I think it's going to be a little more serious than this channel has ever seen. It's going to be something a little more professional, as well as being, inspirational, and at the same time, it's still going to be fun. We're going to have fun. He's a really funny guy. He was kind of the class clown in school, but yeah, his name is Noah Babcock, and he's going to be on the show Thursday, 7 o'clock. And we're going to, I think we're going to do it kind of interview style. I'm going to be asking him some questions. I've already been trying to get things together, trying to get kind of like a loose script together. I'm going to be asking him questions, just kind of digging in, because I want him to, and he's going to just tell his story, and he's going to tell his story, and he's going to, and who knows, these things, like I said, a very loose script, so I have just enough just to break any silences, but I have a feeling that we're not even going to have that issue, because me and him can talk hours and hours about anything. So that's going to be a really fun episode. Like I said, it's going to be a little more serious than this channel has seen so far, I think. And it's also going to be, I think it's going to give me a chance to show y'all a different side of me that maybe y'all haven't seen before, as well as bringing a different type of content that I personally enjoy that I haven't got to express on this channel yet. Obviously y'all have seen the games. With this show, it's allowed me to talk about the movies and filmmaking and stuff that, really means a lot to me. And then, now we're going to be getting to talk about a little more of the business side and everything, which I pride myself as a businessman. Obviously, if you look at my bio, I call my, I pride myself as being a creator, an entertainer, an entrepreneur, or whatever. And, so I'm excited to bring that type of content to this channel. You know, so I think it's going to be fun. I'm definitely going to enjoy it. I hope everybody comes out and enjoys it themselves. I'm looking like I'm getting some lag. I can't tell though. I don't know. I can see it out of my peripherals. I can see it. Looks like it's lagging, and then when I look over, it looks clear. So hopefully, it turns out pretty good. But yeah. So that's Thursday, 7 o'clock, and we're gonna be doing it every week. You know, obviously Monday is this show. Thursday is Ding Nation, with some other things scattered throughout the week. Monday through Friday, I'm gonna be streaming every day. So yeah. It's been a lot of fun up until this point, and it's only going to continue to get more fun, you know, because that's what this is about. You know, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't enjoy it, and I'm sure no one would be watching me if they didn't enjoy, you know, having the conversations and stuff. So I appreciate everybody who's been watching up until this point, and all of the people who are, you know, going to be stopping in the future. All right, without further ado, let's talk about today's episode that is on, as you can see in the title, Christopher Nolan. Now, I said it at the beginning, but I'm going to say it again. In my opinion, he is one of the best, most influential directors, especially of our time. But for me, I say of all time. I love Christopher Nolan and all the stuff that he has put out. There isn't anything that he's done that I didn't like. Everything, you know, everything from Following to his latest release, Tenet, and what I'm going to talk about some today too, the announcement of his next film in Oppenheimer, I think is how you say it. Talking about the construction of the atomic bomb and stuff, and I can't wait to talk about it because it's got a star-studded cast now and everything. So that's going to be for later, but for now, I want to just kind of walk down through talking about my journey with Christopher Nolan, because he's one of the first filmmakers that really sparked my interest and really inspired me to do this myself. You know, obviously I had already kind of done it a little bit. You know, I'd always, I've told the story before. And actually I may do it tonight, since we're talking about, inspirations and stuff and how things got started. One of the very first films I ever was in, I have it on here, so I may play that a little bit later, but actually, I want to go ahead and pull it up because it's pretty funny. But basically, I have to watch it because I know if I talk while I'm doing stuff over here, it messes the audio up. So let me see. Okay. So basically, I have been passionate about filmmaking, passionate about film since I was a little kid. And as you'll see in this video, I think I was 9. I think I was 9. And I've just, there's so much to unpack even just about that I don't think I could squeeze it all into an episode. But that's kind of actually the point of this series anyways, is just to kind of draw it all out. But just kind of a little synopsis, I love films already anyways. Watching movies and stuff has always been a way for me to fully express myself in any sense, in an emotional sense, in a creative sense. This is where my imagination is. So I've always loved film and stuff, and actually a lot of the credit to getting me started down goes to actually Mr. Bobby, Mr. Delta Denny's, who was on the show last week. Obviously he's my cousin, for anyone who doesn't know. And when I think I was 9 in this. I'm going to say I was 9. He was in school and he had a film class. He was in a film class, and they all the time, where they had to make, little home videos and stuff to practice the different things that they were learning in class, different editing techniques and different, software programs and stuff that they had to, just, familiarize with themselves with. And I was kind of his guinea pig, if he needed, an actor to be in a film, that was me. And so I got my start with in his school projects. And so that's what this was, I'm pretty sure, unless this was just a recreation one, I don't remember. But we made this. I loved it. I enjoyed every bit of it. And from this one on, I've been, every time we're with any family, I always would whip out the phone, put on the camera, and we'd start making a film. Of any type, and actually most of the time it was POV zombie movies. And I've probably had that in the past, but yeah, that's what we used to make. It was always, like I said, first person. And then for the zombie effect, we would put the negative filter on it. And that was the zombie's vision. Haven't seen a POV zombie movie yet. From the zombie's perspective, I mean. So that was kind of where we got our start. And then, we just continued to make films together and stuff. And they've gotten better in quality over the years, I think. And then up until The Grand, which was the first episode, that was the one that really made me want to direct and take more of a directing role. Because up until that point, I had liked acting, and I wanted to be an actor. And actually, in a lot of my school stuff, I just found it when I was actually looking for some old documents and stuff the other day, and I found a binder and stuff from school, and it had one of those profiles filled out. You know how you had the little psychology things, and in the profile it had us list, what were our top 3, dream jobs, and I had musician, because obviously I love music and stuff, and I wanted to be a musician. I had musician, actor, and director. Those are my top 3, and in that order at the time. And over time, with different things, directors just moved on and on up. And like I said, with The Grand, that was when I really started wanting to direct. But this was the film that got me kickstarted on acting and stuff. So this is terrible, by the way. I feel bad for everybody who's about to watch this, because this is bad. The quality is not great on the video or sound or acting or anything, but you get to see a little version of me. So, oh boy, here we go. So I'm gonna try not to talk again. I'm gonna try not to talk through it at all because of the technical issues that I'm having right now. But this is gonna be good. Actually, let me do something real fast. There we go. All right. Had to do some had to do a quick little fix and stuff on this. I don't know what the deal is that I've been having lately. I think I need to take one of these weekends, maybe this coming weekend, and just overhaul all of my equipment here because, obviously with the game streaming and everything, and I can play the game just fine. If I'm just playing the game on my computer, it works like a charm. But as soon as I start running the stream, it all goes downhill. So I've got to figure something out with that. And it may come down to just needing to upgrade. And if that's the case, then that's the case, and that's what's gonna happen, and we'll just make do until then. But yeah, so I'm gonna try this now. Oh boy, that's loud. Alright, so I'm gonna be turning that down. Here we go, though. Look at that. All right, so let me full screen. So this here, like I said, this is, I think, 9-year-old me and Mr. Bobby from last week. And this was the first film that I was ever involved in. And it's the one that inspired me, you know? So, oh boy, here y'all go. Best of me, empty and feeling numb. Wish I could take it away. I can't control the need. Too weak to not conceive.
How's it going, man? I've seen you since what was it, last day, dude? How's it going?
You're the one that has caused all the chaos. You're the one that's messed up. My hands are stained with love. Wish I could find you. I gave my life away. There's nothing left to say. I gave my life away. You take it any old way. I gave my life away. There's nothing left to say. I gave my life away. You take it any old way. You take it.
Wow.
You know who did this?
Okay. I tried to pause it and it pulled up a different menu for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to take little breaks here and there because obviously if I don't, no one's going to know what's happening. So at the very beginning there, we had a gang meeting. And obviously I was playing the role of the gang leader. I have 3 different roles in this movie, actually. I played the role of the gang leader, as you just saw, and I was shot. And then I played the role as the lead detective. My name was Ben Talley, and I'm the lead detective, which is me right here. And Mr. Bobby is like he's the big bad or whatever of this movie, and he just destroyed that gang or whatever. He shot me several times. I'm sure y'all could hear the stock gunshots and everything, so that was that. Again, I told you it was low quality. Basically, that whole opening scene, I tell him, you're causing us a lot of problems, and something's you've got to be dealt with, and and then he shoots me. He then he beats my brother down, who was the first one at the beginning when he said, order, he's coming. That's my brother. And so he got his, and then even though I was shot, I got up and kept fighting. And, he throws me down, he fights me for a little ways, and then he shoots me again. And then the body you see at the end, he needed me to play the detective. But I couldn't be the detective and the dead gangster. Wasn't going to work. So what we did was we traded clothes. I gave him my shirt and the pants that I was wearing, and he pretends to be me, and I other character. So basically, he was my stunt double, or my body double, pretty much, for that scene. Um, and it didn't work. Obviously, look at that. See, there he is. And then there I am as the detective, not the gangster. And then when I come in, there is that's supposed to be me as well. You know, the dead gangster, the dead gang leader. That's me. Obviously, it doesn't look as good as the idea, as what we thought the idea did. But hey, you know, it is what it is. So that was that, and then so the story continues. I'm in my office, which is a little short table in the living room, and I'm investigating Mr. Bobby's character, the main bad, and well, you'll see what happens after that. So I'm gonna skip it back. It's right here. All right, here we go. Actually, I think I'm gonna turn it down a little bit because it was really loud. Wow. Okay. Lot to unpack there. Uh, so, as you saw, you know, I'm investigating him. He dives through the window. We have a fight. I lose. Um, he leaves. My deputy comes in, which is my brother. He checks on me. He's like, hey, you know, what happened? And I tell him, you know, he attacked me. So, what you couldn't hear because the music was so loud, that's our editing. Music was so loud. We have a conversation, and I tell him that I know where he's headed or whatever. So I am going to go get him, basically. Which proceeds to this scene here, which is where I'm, you know, at his house now, and I'm about to get him. But a couple of things that I wanted to point out. So obviously, if you watch the last episode of Memoirs, you know that, you know, on the fight scenes or whatever, you know that I love action scenes, I love fight scenes and stuff, but I'm very particular about how I like the shot. And actually, if you watch all the scenes that I showed, for the most part, all of them are very wide shot. You can see everything, and they're very long takes. Long takes and very wide shots. You can see everything. I mean, I'm not trying to toot our own horn, but that's exactly what we did. Very long takes of one big wide shot. I know it's terrible, but I think making films like this actually did influence that a lot for me, I think, because we did it like this. You know, we always did it like this. You know, we had, you know, big long takes because I didn't know how to do the cutting and the back and forth and stuff. So we just would turn the camera on and go. And I think that has kind of bled over into my taste and stuff as well, because that's the only way I ever knew how to film a fight scene. It was you just set the camera up, and in this case my brother was holding the camera. You just press record, and then you have the scene. And there wasn't cutting different angles, and there wasn't the shaky cam, well, not intentional shaky cam, and there wasn't the, you know, all the different angles and cuts and stuff like that. It was just one long wide shot fight scene. Not a good one, but I think it's you know, important to point out. I think that you can see a lot of the things that I think are important to me now. You can see that in a lot of our early videos like this. So, I don't know, just some food for thought. But, okay, so now Ben Talley, my character here, I've tracked him to his residence. So let's see this. Slow motion. Same sound effect. It's so bad. That was a good one. Alright, so as you can see, we were doing the John Wick thing before John Wick. So what happened here was, obviously you can see I'm running through the house and everything, and I'm just cleaning the house. Obviously it's the exact same sound effect over and over again. I've got a big water gun. I'm in this goofy trench coat. And I watch this and it just gives me so much nostalgia. Because I remember doing this. And I remember, you know, obviously this whole scene here was filmed. You know, we used, for all the, like this scene here and some of all the scenes at the beginning was done with, I had a camera, and actually I've got it around here somewhere. It's not in good shape, but there's this little camera or whatever. And because my parents knew I enjoyed filmmaking, so they bought me a camera. And so we were using that. And for that scene, it was his laptop, and it was on like the selfie camera or whatever, the front camera. And so that's what he was using to film the scene. Obviously, it's embarrassingly bad now. But hey, we were doing the John Wick thing before John Wick. I running through and just popping everybody and then having the big fight at the top. Obviously, we went through the window and fell for about 50 stories, landed on a balcony, and then I shot him, and now he's okay. So now this scene here. Oh yeah, well, another thing I wanted to say too that I thought about, when we used to film these fight scenes, it was full contact. So there are a couple parts you could see where the hits don't hit, they don't land, but the scene, especially the one where he comes into my office and he's attacking me, full contact. I was really getting hit in the face, and actually, there's another movie we were filming that I don't think we ever finished. It was kind of a noir type detective story when I was probably 12 or 13, and in the story, it was this really cool looking black and white and stuff, and in the story, me and him, and it's the same cousin, me and Mr. Bobby, we have this fight in a garage, and we're about to have I take it back, we're about to have a fight in this garage, and out of nowhere, he just reaches behind him and he pulls out, and he has this huge golf club. And we were filming on his laptop, and he had it sitting off to the side. And so we have this, the way we have it framed is we're on opposite sides of this garage, and the laptop's on his side, kind of in the corner. So he's closest to the camera, but it's sitting kind of like this, kind of where my hands are right now. This was him, this was me. And he's facing me. He pulls out this huge golf club, and I don't even remember what dialogue we had, but I just remember he swung it as hard as he can, and it was supposed to miss, and I was going to time it, and it didn't miss, and it hit me right here on the side of the head. And I don't remember immediately after, but I do remember us, him, first off, he was making sure that I was, but then we were talking about how we were going to hide it from the parents, because I had this big, purple knot on my head. And so, we were talking about how we were going to hide it from the parents so they wouldn't know that he just hit me in the face with a golf club. But, it was all for the product, and actually I don't think we ever even finished that movie. It's probably, we still got it probably somewhere, but yeah, so we did these full contact. So everything you see with the hits and everything, pretty much all of it's real. Like I said, some of the hits miss, you can see some of them miss. And honestly, I think that's just us mistaking and trying to hit each other and actually missing. But when you see him hitting me, it's real. I was hitting him for real. So yeah, this is all real stuff. But yeah, so now, okay, so we had our fight on the balcony. You can see my little brother on a tricycle in the background. We have our fight. I pulled a gun and I shot him in a horrible cut, but I shot him. And actually, behind the scenes, what we were going to have is he had ketchup in his mouth. And he was going to get shot in the chest. And he was going to kind of sling off to the side. And he was going to spit. That ketchup was going to look like blood just spraying out of his mouth. It's going to be really cool. And he spit it all over his computer. So it delayed the scene. So actually, when you see the cut, actually, I'll just show it. So see, this is the first cut. I whipped the gun out and I pointed at him, and when I do, I shoot, and when I did, he turned and he spit all that ketchup, and it spit all over the camera and all over his computer. So then we had to stop and had to clean the computer up and everything. So we come back out to refilm it, and rather than do the whole thing again, he said, "You know what? He said, we'll just put it together. We'll cut them together. So just go ahead and have the gun drawn. You've already shot me. We'll start from there. And we'll just put it together and it'll be seamless." Look at this. Did that look seamless to anybody? Oh boy. Alright, so let's see this just one more time. It was a great cut. See, in the original, he spits ketchup all over, and it hits all over this here. Or all over this here. So, yeah, it was a good time. So then the next scene, I bring him in for interrogation. He's fine. after these gunshots. He's fine. And so we're just sitting in the interrogation room. You won't be able to hear anything that we're saying, but basically I'm asking him about all these different crimes. I'm saying, what about this? What about the time when this? What about the time when this? And I'm just listing them off, and I'm not giving him a chance to answer. And he stops me and he says, "Yo, what about the time you come to my place?" You know, and well, actually, he was answering, because every time I say, "What about the time with this crime?" And he says, "What about it? What about the time with this? What about it?" And then he says, "What about the time you come to my place?" And we had a little something going on. And I say, "What about it?" And then we continue on, and I say, "What about the time with the 2 drug dealers?" And you'll see. And the reason I stress the "what about it" is because it was, when we were writing this, it was the most clever thing we'd ever come up with. So I'll let you see it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. What about them people in San Francisco? You killed them. What about the time when you, the meeting y'all had a couple days ago? It's not going to be the same answer every time, either.
I don't think anything will. You need to have a question every time.
Oh, yeah. That was also a line that we were very proud of. He says, so I'm saying, what about, like I said, what about the time, with the shooting in San Francisco? He says, "It's a bad cause." And then we continue on. Look at that. Look at that. Well, let me do that model back there. Woo! Woo! Alright. Whoa, too dark. There we go. What are you doing?
Looking.
For what? Anyways, alright. That was that. Anyways. So I say, what about the time with this? And he says, "That was a bad cause." I say, "What about the time with this?" He says it again. So I look at him and I say, "Are you just going to give me the same answer every time?" And he says, "Are you going to ask me the same questions every time?" When we wrote that, it felt so clever. We were like, "Oh, this is great. This dialogue is awesome." And you'll see what I was talking about with the "what about it." But yeah.
So, the drug.
Hey, whoa. What about the time you went to my place? We had a little something.
What about it?
What about the time when you come to my place? We had a little something. About it. I got it. Real fast. Yeah, throwback. I'm struggling here, man. Struggling. Anyway. So yeah. So he asked me. My answer was, "What about it?" That's important.
What about the time about the 2 drug dealers?
There was, "What about the time with the 2 drug dealers?" Obviously, it says big bold letters down there. Flashback. So now I'm playing my 3rd character of the movie, as well as my brother, one of my brothers, not the one that just come in, but it's the other brother, in the yellow shirt there. So this is a flashback to a previous crime, you know, with his drug deal gone bad.
I think it's you.
Full contact. My karate. Baseball bat. I told you though, you know, this inspired a lot, you know, of the way we write now. I like the music too for this movie. I will say that is definitely a positive. You know, you got Seether, you got Saliva, and obviously The Dark Knight and Mission Impossible, and now you're about to have some Linkin Park. But that that scene always cracked me up. Anyways, you know, we never minded our surroundings when we were making these. And obviously, you can see in the background my grandmother steps in to see what's happening because she can hear us. You know, she can hear us boxing each other. Hold on, let me. I don't like how this is sitting. Actually, it didn't dawn on me that I didn't like it until just now. But I'm not crazy about the way this is sitting. So. In a lot of negative space. There we go. Now it's a little more, you know, eye level. Also tilted now. There we go. How's that? There. Alright, so back to what I was saying. So we didn't really mind our surroundings at all, so it's funny when I see this because like my grandmother's stepping in and looking to see what was going on. Stuff like that cracks me up. Or while he's just bludgeoning me with a baseball bat, my youngest brother, actually G Piggy, who is just in here, is sleeping right beside us on the couch. That's pretty funny. I will say though, of all of the action in this movie, this is probably my favorite part, genuinely, because with better quality, and without a sleeping child next to us, this actually is a pretty sweet, you know, camera shot or whatever. I actually really like the shot, the silhouette, and you can just see, like I said, the silhouette, the angle of everything. It's actually a really cool shot. So I'll probably recreate it at some point for a different film. But that first bat swing is brutal, and like I said, full contact. But these weren't as bad as the golf club. But look at this. Acting.
What about it?
There it is. I told you that what about it was going to be important. It's actually not. It's actually extremely corny. We loved this line. I remember watching this, I was thinking that's the coolest line ever put on camera. You know, that is so cool because it's the callback, you know, because I'm asking him all these questions and he says, oh, what about the time you come to my place? We had a little something, something. I say, what about it? And then I ask him, what about the time with the two drug dealers? We see this awesome, at the time, awesome flashback, this cool action scene, guns the drug dealer down, and then it just cuts back and he's looking right at the camera. He says, what about it? Cut to credits. Obviously, it's extremely corny now, but I remember when we did this, it was the coolest thing in the world. I remember being so proud of that line, and this movie in particular. I was so proud of this movie. And he actually posted on YouTube, and actually I don't think he has that YouTube channel anymore, but when he did, this was on YouTube, and it actually got a lot of views. All the people in his school watched it, obviously, and I was telling the people at my school, and they were watching it. Obviously, different family members and stuff watched it, so we actually got a pretty good amount of views on it. And that was the seed that started it all for me. Getting to participate in this, because not only was he, not only was it the first film that I'd actually worked in with him and everything, but it was the one that he really collaborated with me on it. He was asking me, what would be cool to do next? What would be cool? And a lot of like I said, I'm a huge action movie fan. And at the time, that's what I liked. I liked action, and I liked just big fight scenes and stuff. That's what I always liked. And I liked martial arts movies and stuff. My dad was big into Jackie Chan and stuff like that. So that's what I grew up with. So a lot of the fighting and stuff on my part is stuff that I come up with. The fight in the living room where we're standing up and we're going at it for a little bit, and then he takes me to the ground and beats me with a guitar. It was my idea. And then he figured out how to do it, with the jumping through the window and everything. And actually, he come up with the guitar part. For me, it was just a ground and pound. And then he said, what if I use this guitar? Really cool stuff, but it's lame now. We watching it, it's like, oh, this is terrible. I don't know how anybody could watch this. And yeah, I 100% agree. It is terrible. The quality is bad. The acting and dialogue is bad. Like I said, I already said the quality, but the audio and video quality are awful. And there's no structure to the story. There's no story. And so I 100% agree with you, but I credit this film right here for being one of the things that jump-started my love for filmmaking. And obviously, from this point on up to the grand, I wanted to be an actor. So, I think I was 9, 10 years old in this film. Somewhere in there. So, we can guess, 2009, 2010. Or 11. That's the window. From 2009 to 2011 was when we did this. And, so you take this all the way up until the Christmas of 2016. I wanted to be an actor because of this movie right here. So, it holds a special place in my heart because of that. And so this is what the whole... Actually, hold up. What was the credits? I don't remember if we had anything for the credits or not. That's just everybody's name. See that? So that right there, directed by me and him. So it was cool because like I said, he collaborated with me, and so it made me put it into a whole new perspective. So that's enough of that right there. Cut back to this. So yeah, like I said, it is bad, but I do credit it to that. And this is the film that got me to start paying attention to movies and paying attention to film and really thinking about things like that. And so enter Christopher Nolan. I had my introduction to Christopher Nolan was the same as probably a lot of people, especially a lot of people my age. and that was through the Dark Knight trilogy. I said it in I've probably said it in both past episodes, but Batman is probably my favorite character of all time in anything. I think Batman is my number one character. I think he's the most interesting to me. He's the most compelling, and he's the one that I've connected with the most. And one of the reasons I love Batman so much is because of the Dark Knight trilogy. I grew up with it. I was 5 years old when Batman Begins come out. Give or take. I was 5 or 6 when Batman Begins come out. So I grew up with these movies, and actually The Dark Knight Rises is one of the first movies that I went and saw in the theater. Actually, it was the same year. I don't remember the dates, like what month it was, which one come first. I think maybe Avengers come first. I can't remember if it was Avengers or Dark Knight Rises come first. But it was 2012, if I've got my years right. And those were the first movies I ever saw in theaters. So, and I remember I watched Avengers with, my brothers and my dad and my cousin. Actually, the one that was commenting last week, that Melquez. It was him. And then The Dark Knight Rises was my birthday present from my cousin here, Mr. Bobby. I was, 13 years old. It was my 13th birthday. And he'd come over and he picked me up. He would have been 18. He'd been 18 years old. And he drove over. He picked me up. We were really close. I say I was 13, but I've always been a lot older mentally than I actually am, and then now I've kind of reversed that where I'm a lot younger now mentally than I actually am. But at the time, 13 years old for me, people were confusing me with adults. I remember, I remember in specific one wedding that I went to. I was at a wedding and I was 13 years old. And either 13 or 14, and they were a lot of the guys. They come through and was like, "Hey, we're gonna go hit this flask. Y'all wanna come out and get a hit on it real fast before the ceremony starts?" And they looked at me and was like, "You coming?" I said, "I think I was 14." I said, "I'm only 14," and they all was like, "What? You're only 14? You look like you're 21 years old." So I've been getting that all my life. So I was a lot older. So when I say, it was me, a 14-year-old, and my cousin, or me, a 13-year-old, and my cousin, an 18-year-old, it's a lot different than just that. But we were really, really close at that time, and we've gotten closer now than we were because, just life and everything, you move apart and everything, and college, and, me moving states and everything. And recently, we've gotten a lot closer now. But, at the time, me and him were extremely close. And so he called me and was like, "Hey, for your birthday, I'm taking you to see the new Batman." And I remember I was so excited. All week long, that's all I thought about. I was like, I get to go see the new Batman. I love Batman Begins. I love The Dark Knight. And now I get to go watch the new Batman, with my cousin. This is going to be awesome. So he did. He come over and he picked me up, and we went and we ate some Chinese first. Anybody who knows me knows that is the cuisine of choice for me. I absolutely love it. So we ate some Chinese food, and then popped over to the theater and we watched The Dark Knight Rises. And to this day, it is one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. And I'm in the minority, but I'm one of the very few people I think that consider The Dark Knight Rises to be on par, and depending on the day, sometimes better than The Dark Knight. I love Rises. And like I said, I am in the minority on that because, I acknowledge some of its flaws, and actually it's the only one of the 3 movies that I have a problem with the movie, and my problem with the movie is the twist at the end. Which the Talia twist, and I talked about that a little bit in the fight scene, episode. Man, I'm having some problems here, but anyways, so I love The Dark Knight Rises. Like I said, one of the best theaters, and that was, and like I said, it's the same year. Also, we went and watched Avengers as well. Another great theater experience. So that was very influential for a kid like me. You know, I already liked filmmaking. I was already very interested in filmmaking. I was already making little home films on my own, and now you show me a movie in a trilogy that I already love, and I'm getting to experience it on this huge screen. And actually, I don't think we saw it in IMAX, but it was the big XD screens or whatever, so it was the ultra large screen. And I just remember watching it thinking, this is what I want to do. This is amazing. So I can credit Christopher Nolan for a lot of the inspiration I have today. Obviously, the Dark Knight trilogy is not the only reason I love him now. I love, like I said earlier, I love everything he's done. There's not a film in his filmography that I dislike. There's not even one in there that I like, but just, it's not my favorite. I love all of them. And honestly, if I was to make a top 50 list for films, all of Christopher Nolan's are going to be on there. And, you know, I love his films. And there are other directors that are the same way. And I actually made a list today, and I was going through and I was trying to figure out, you know, some video ideas to do for this series. And I have a couple, you know, in mind. And one of those, I want to do a director ranking. You know, I want to talk about my favorite directors. And it's probably going to end up being like the fight scene one, where I was going to do a top 10 and then ended up just saying, nah, I'm going to just screw the rankings so that I'm just going to list them out. These are my favorites. And it'll probably be that way with the directors too. Because there's so many influences, stuff that I love. And obviously Christopher Nolan's going to be on that list. And there's some others like that where every film in their filmography I love. But Christopher Nolan, for me, he's in a league of his own when it comes to that. You know, there's not a film that I watch of his that I get bored with, or a film that I go, yeah, I'm not feeling this. I love all of them. And like I said, other than that twist at the very end of Rises with Talia, there's not a moment in any of his films that I dislike. You know, from Memento all the way up to Tenet. I'm one of the few people, again, that loved Tenet. Went and watched Tenet 3 times in the theater, bought it as soon as it come out on the Blu-ray, and I've seen it twice since. You know, I love Tenet, and it gets better every time I watch it. So, Christopher Nolan, you know, I hold a very special place in my heart for Christopher Nolan's films. And he inspires me in a really, you know, number of ways, you know, and often I've talked with people before and you know, I've talked about, you know, my influences, you know, when it comes to filmmaking, and kind of, yeah, actually I've been calling it the press tour for the Good Samaritan, which is most recent film that I directed, and me and my brother and stuff, we made it, and it's the most recent, and at the end of this video I'm going to play a trailer. But when we were doing our press tour for that, I got asked the question, who were some of the directors that influenced me? And, you know, it was a girl. She said, you know, who you know, what's some of the directors that influenced you? You know, she's interested in film as well and stuff. So I was telling her, you know, well, Christopher Nolan's, you know, probably one of the biggest, and I have some others, you know, listed. That I'm not going to say any others. You know, I'll say Christopher Nolan because that is the topic of today's episode. I'm going to save the others for my director video, and then I'd like to do a video like this for the other directors. You know, so I'll do a whole video dedicated to blank and blank and blank. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to spoil who all that is on there. So, you know, we can save that to have some content new for that video. But I was telling her, and I said, you know, it's weird because when it comes to, you know, these directors, I know I'm very self-aware about what each of them inspire me with. You know, with, you know, this one, maybe it's the way they write dialogue. With this one, maybe it's the way their cinematography and the way they frame their shots. With this one, maybe it's the story structure. And for me, with Nolan, one of the things I've always noticed with the way he inspires me and the things that jump out to me with his movies are the scope, and the scale of his movies. They feel like events. They're not just movies. And obviously you have his ones like Memento and Insomnia and even The Prestige that are very up close and personal. But you look at the movies he's most known for, like Inception and Interstellar, and especially all of his more recent ones, like those Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Tenet. These movies are very, and even The Dark Knight Rises, very big in scope. And I think Nolan is one of the ones that's inspired me the most in that. Also within practical versus CGI, I love. If you can't do it in camera, then it's not as good as it sounds. And so I've really taken a lot of that stuff to heart. And obviously, like I said at the beginning of this episode, being a big horror guy, I love practical effects and everything. And we'll definitely have an episode dedicated to horror and everything. But just in regards to, just even outside of practical effects, like the horror type stuff, with the different body horror and everything that you can do, but just the stuff like the plane sequence in The Dark Knight Rises, or the truck flip, or the spinning hallway, or in all of Interstellar. These are things that I've really noticed in my own writing, and I've actually right here in front of me, I've got it right here in front of me, is the start of a whole new script right here. And what I've noticed, even in just the very beginning stages of writing this script, is I've already started incorporating how I would do these shots. Okay, for this scene, I'm going to utilize this practically, and I'm going to do this and this. I'm already thinking like that, and I credit Christopher Nolan a lot of that, because I don't think and I hate to say, I wouldn't think that way without Christopher Nolan, because I think I still would, because I find value in that. And especially being a horror guy, I love that. But, horror, when you look at the practicality of it, it's very, even with the bigger budget ones, I say bigger budget, the bigger scope ones like Alien, or I consider the first Terminator to be one like that, where you have these big practical sets or even paintings, or something like Hellraiser that uses a lot of matte paintings and everything. Even those, it still feels really scaled down. It's very personal, and it all credit to the story that they're telling. But you look at something with Christopher Nolan and these things that he's pulling off, like Interstellar, it feels otherworldly. And I think a lot of that I know that has influenced me a lot in my own personal writing. And I've thought about maybe, one day, getting on here and doing kind of like a, maybe like just a brainstorming, because the script that I'm writing right now, I've kind of hit a block where you ever do it where you're writing or doing anything creatively where you're really just utilizing your creative brain and your imagination and stuff, and you're creating or drawing or painting or whatever it is that you're doing, and you get to a point where you just step back and look at it and go, I don't love this. At the time, you get caught up in the adrenaline of creating, and you're inspired and you're just flowing, and then you step back and you look and you go, I don't love this. Somewhere along the way it lost me, and that's kind of where I'm at with this script right now, where I loved the beginning of this idea, and somewhere along the way of my writing here, I've lost myself, where I'm thinking, no, something here's not quite clicking right. And so that's kind of where I'm at with the script here. So I thought maybe doing something like that on here would be kind of fun, being that this is a series that I'm wanting to do dedicated solely to filmmaking and different avenues of filmmaking. But, it's, that's possibly for the future and everything. But, I've just, you know, I thought about doing like even a Christopher Nolan ranking and talking about my favorites, my least favorites, but I don't know. I just don't think, for me personally, I don't think I would find much value in that because I don't have a least favorite, you know. And I'm sure if I got down to the technicalities and really, you know, picked it apart and got nitty gritty with it, I'd have a favorite and a least favorite. But you know, I don't think I can do that. You know, just as it is, you know, just going purely off of how much I love his work. You know, it's like they always say about picking your favorite kid. Not quite the same, but same general idea. Yeah, so let's see here. I know I wanted to talk about the new movie. I guess I can go ahead and do that while I'm thinking about it. So I'm going to just pull it up. So the new movie is called, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Oppenheimer. And it's basically a biographical drama where you know, it follows the people who constructed the atomic bomb. And that's going to be very, you know, interesting to me. It's got a star-studded cast already, which is, you know, the people that are involved are exciting. And I plan on doing an actor and actresses list as well. You know, having episodes dedicated to that. Like I said, I got up the one day and I just started writing, and I've gotten myself several episodes ahead, which is good, but it's also bad at the same time because now I just want to do them. You know, I have them here, I have them ready to go, and I'm ready to talk about them. And I have to wait a week at a time, so that kind of sucks. But anyways, so without getting too much into my favorite actors and actresses, because like I said, I'm going to save that for a video where I really go in depth talking about that. It does have a star-studded cast. I mean, you've got Cillian Murphy, obviously a long-time collaborator with Christopher Nolan. I think it's Cillian Murphy, right? Yeah. Long-time collaborator with Christopher Nolan. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and just pull up the article so y'all can see what I'm looking at. There it is right there. So, yeah, so you can see here, you know, I love Cillian Murphy, and like I said, we'll talk more in depth about that when we do the actor and actresses videos. One thing that excites me about this movie is it says he's scaling back his budget. Obviously, given the, you know, the just nature of the story that he's telling, it sounds like it's going to be very up close and personal, and it's going to be more drama than anything. Whereas his last several movies, actually, I'd say since The Prestige, maybe, I think was probably his last really up close, and well, maybe The Dark Knight if you count it, you know, being very up close and personal, like a character study. Whereas since, you know, Inception and on, he's just gotten bigger and bolder and more creative and more out there, you know? And he hasn't done anything scaled down in a long time. So I'm excited to see what he's got in store for this, you know, kind of a return to old Nolan, you know, like Memento, like Insomnia, The Prestige, movies like that, where he didn't have the huge budget, you know, he was working with just a good story. So I'm excited to see that. Obviously, love Cillian Murphy. Let's see here. So I'm just going to read it here. Set to return. Hold up. Man. Got me. I don't think my voice wanted to talk tonight. I've been struggling all night. Anyways, set to return to theaters in 2023. I kind of wish. I'm happy that I know that he's making this movie, and everything, but I kind of wish I wouldn't have known until way closer because that's still over a year out. So I have to wait. So here we go. So release open up based on the life of theoretical physicist and the father of the atomic bomb. J. Robert Oppenheimer. Nolan has never made a biographical drama before, but don't expect the Oscar-nominated director to take the traditional biopic route. I don't think anybody was expecting him to be traditional about this. Obviously, I imagine it's going to be very non-linear. That's kind of something I'm expecting, very non-linear. I'm not super familiar with the story of who this guy, the J. Robert Oppenheimer or whatever. I'm not familiar with his story. I know who he is, obviously. I know about, the creation of the atomic bomb and stuff, but I don't know the details of this guy's story. I imagine we're going to get a very non-linear story, maybe starting early life, cutting back and forth between him working on the bomb, and maybe if he's really going to get crazy with it, even seeing some of the after effects and what he, seeing how he reacts to it. I think are going to be some big things that Nolan's going to really press in. At least that's what I would do. And being very heavily Nolan inspired, I can kind of trust that might be an approach that he's going to take. As with all of Nolan's films, expect the unexpected when it comes to Oppenheimer. An abundance of details about the project is scarce. Good. I don't want to know much. Reports suggest Nolan will be scaling things back significantly after the $200 million plus spectacle of Tenet. What does $100 million Nolan biopic look like? We're going to find out. I'm excited for this, and obviously you can see Robert Downey Jr. and Matt Damon down there are already rumored to be casted in the film. Actually, I don't even think it's a rumor. I think it's confirmed that they're being considered for these roles. So that's exciting. Obviously I'm a huge Robert Downey Jr. fan. I like Matt Damon as well. I think he's a great actor. I'm not as big on him as some people are, but I think he's a great actor. Let's see. Yeah, circling roles. So yeah, I don't think they've been completely confirmed. I don't think they've been completely casted yet, but I know that they're the main kind of picks. Obviously, Emily Blunt's on here too. Haven't gotten there yet. Writing and directing the film that revolves around J. Robert Oppenheimer, the scientist who ran the Manhattan Project that led to the invention of the atomic bomb. Film will, on July 2023, a slot typically saved for Nolan films in the past. That's interesting. I did not know that. Details behind who Damon and Downey will be playing in the project are being kept under wraps, as they should be. I don't like spoilers. I don't like going into a film knowing a lot of the details. I like to find out. I like to watch the film as if I'm watching all of it for the first time. I'm finding out everything for the first time. Obviously, some of it is bound to be noticed, and being that I love the people involved with this, I'm gonna know about it some, but I'm not digging for leaks or anything. That's not the type of fan I am. Be the first time Downey and Nolan worked together it'd be the first time they worked together. Yeah, then obviously Damon he says he would do anything that Christopher Nolan directs. I really love Emily Blunt too, and I think she's beautiful too, so it's just a plus. Joined Cillian Murphy in the Universal tentpole that Christopher Nolan will direct. Sources say she will be the wife, the scientist who ran the Manhattan Project that led. Oh, God, they're just repeating themselves. Her first Christopher Nolan movie as well. All-star cast. I'm excited for this movie. I don't think for me, there's nothing working against this movie. everything I've heard about it so far, from obviously the director to the implications of how the story is going to be told. Am I lagging? Hello. Okay. It looks like it's lagging, but it doesn't sound like it, so I don't know. Maybe it's just my screen over here, but yeah, what I was saying though, the just everything that we know about the movie so far, and some of the stuff that you can kind of expect, going into a Nolan movie. There's nothing working against this movie for me, and I'm no stranger to watching things that are, it doesn't sound all that entertaining. Obviously movies like the movie the Professor and the Madman. Talking about the dictionary. Obviously, you hear that and go, man, that doesn't sound interesting at all. I love that movie. I like things that are even Pi. Darren Aronofsky. It doesn't sound interesting on the outside, but it is. So there's nothing about this story, about this film, going right now for me. There's nothing working against this movie. Everything is just green lights all across the board. I'm excited to see it. So let's see, what else does it say? Yeah, nothing Nolan ever does is traditional. That's the exciting part. Flirted with real world figures in the past. Tesla, obviously in The Prestige. Never before has the life of a historical figure been the main narrative drive behind a Nolan project. I'm wondering how historically accurate this story is going to be. If he's going to stick to what happened, how it happened, and obviously he's going to flourish. He's got to, flourish and play with structure and everything. But I'm wondering if the story itself is going to stay true to the source, or if he's, taking it and building off of it and creating something new. I wonder. It's exciting either way, because I think there's a lot of potential here, for something that, for a type of Nolan movie that we haven't seen before. This is something that you could see from maybe like a David Fincher or something. But, if, you was to tell me, and if it wasn't confirmed, if you was to tell me that Nolan's gonna, if you were gonna ask me, okay, who do you think is directing a movie? It's about the scientist behind the atomic bomb, and it's gonna follow, it's gonna be kind of a biopic. Who do you think's directing it? I would probably shoot for David Fincher. Definitely not Christopher Nolan. So it's interesting. I'm ready to see kind of what he does, and like I said, I don't think there's anything working against this movie for me. Another thing, and I may find the interview too, just so we have a little more something to watch, so you're not having to just watch me talk the whole time. But another thing off of the topic of this movie, just thinking about upcoming Nolan works. I know I'd seen an interview where he said he would love to tackle the horror genre, and being a huge horror movie fan, I think that is probably the best idea I've ever heard. I think the closest he got to horror is probably in like Batman Begins with Scarecrow. I'd say that's probably the closest he's gotten. Unless I'm forgetting something, definitely Insomnia's and Memento are both pretty good thrillers. Definitely Insomnia. I love Insomnia. I don't think he's even, other than, like I said, Batman Begins. I think that's the closest he's gotten to the horror genre. And I'd be hesitant to call it a horror movie. It's got some elements sprinkled in here and there, but definitely not all the way. So actually, let me see if I can find that interview. I'll see if I can find that, because I remember hearing that and thinking it was very interesting. Also, there's an interview for anybody who is interested maybe in getting to hear more from. Let me type because I can't type and talk at the same time. I know. What was it? Where was I going with that? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, for anybody who is interested in hearing more from these people, obviously I'm gonna do a lot more of these for different directors and stuff that I enjoy. For anyone who wants to hear more, there's some specifically about Nolan. There's a fantastic one of my favorites is a very long talk between him and George Lucas, obviously the creator behind Star Wars and one of the big creators behind Indiana Jones and American Graffiti and stuff like that. So that's a very interesting time, and actually it's Nolan doing the interviewing, but it's very interesting to hear some of the things that he's interested in, some of the things that crosses his mind when wanting to find more information about a property or something. So it's very interesting. So I found a video. I think it's the interview I'm thinking of. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it pulled up here, and we can go ahead and watch him talk about this because I think this is just extremely interesting. No, stop talking. I think if this happens, it's has the potential to give me a heart attack out of pure excitement. So here we go.
This next one comes from Carson Oak, and Carson wants to know, would you ever try and tackle a horror film? The genre would be so interesting in your style of directing.
Definitely. The thing about horror is it's the most purely visceral of genres. And that is a type of filmmaking that I am, if you watch, Dunkirk in particular is one that, it's all about the physicality of the situation for the characters and the visceral response. And so it's definitely a genre I'm interested in. It's very rare to get a great scenario for a horror movie that really holds up and would really justify the time. There are some incredible horror movies, but not that many, I suppose. It's tough, but it's definitely something I would be interested in exploring at some point. I'm in no rush. I've got time, try different things, but it's certainly on my mind, yeah.
Absolutely. To me, that sounds like he's saying he's played with the idea, but he hasn't fully, he hasn't found a story that he's comfortable with telling. Obviously, he says, it's very dependent on the situation. It's hard to find a situation that justifies creating a horror movie with it. So to me, that's him saying he hasn't found that. But it would be awesome if he would find that pretty soon. Let's see. Looks like this may be the same thing.
This next one comes from
About horror is
Yeah, it's the same thing. So let's see. I don't know if there's any other things of him talking about horror movies in particular. Let's see. But interested in this type of stuff, definitely give this guy a follow. He makes some awesome videos. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video he posted, since we're talking about Nolan. Let's see. No, that's not what I meant to do. Sometimes my brain fails me. Subscriptions, that's what I'm wanting to see. Because I can't remember what the name is offhand. But as soon as I see it, I'll remember. There it is. Okay. So once I get this pulled up, I'll show everybody. And this guy makes he makes videos for everything. I mean, pretty much anything you can think of, he's got a video for it. I'm gonna see if he's got one specifically for Nolan. Yes, he does. So actually, depending on how long these are, I may just go down through the playlist. One of the things that I love about Christopher Nolan, I think that sets him apart from other directors for me, is his cinematography and his eye, for how he wants a film to look. I think he's incredible. So actually, yeah, this is a whole playlist. And it looks like the way it's ordered is it's going backwards, so it's very Nolan-esque, anyways, because we're gonna be watching it in reverse. So it's kind of true to form. But basically, this channel, actually, I'll go ahead and it's Amazing Shots is the name of it. Go look them up. It shows 3D glasses as the icon. I don't know anything about who runs the channel, who makes the videos. I don't know anything about them. No affiliation. But it's one of my favorite channels to get on here and watch because it's inspiring. You get to see what they do is they take all these different movies and shows and stuff, and they take the best parts as far as cinematography goes, and they take the best cinematography out of it, and they make these big compilations of just beautiful cinematography from all these different sources, and they do them. I just scrolling through, I saw they had one for David Fincher, Denis Villeneuve, or how you say his name. All of them. A lot of cool stuff on here. This is obviously for Christopher Nolan, so definitely want to watch this because I'm a very visual storyteller. For me, writing is the hardest. When it comes to writing, the hardest part for me is dialogue. I hate dialogue. I hate writing dialogue. I love listening to it, but I hate writing it. I don't think I'm a very good writer when it comes to dialogue writing. But I do think that I definitely am better when it comes to visually telling a story and the cinematography behind it. So naturally, I lean towards cinematography and everything when it comes to my creative side and everything. And these videos like this are just, it's perfect. So let's go ahead and get to it. Enough rambling. We'll go ahead and watch. I'll start with it. Yeah, so like I said, it's in reverse. Nope, stop. It's in reverse. So we got Tenet first, and it's gonna go all the way back to Memento, and then there's a big one that's a compilation. So we may go through the whole thing. No. Here we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that. It's gonna immediately start playing. Yep. So give me a second. So this is Tenet. real quick, just talking about Tenet. Actually, this video is making me want to go watch Tenet again. So that may be something I do this week. But that car sequence, the whole highway sequence, amazing. Amazing. I don't know how anyone couldn't be entertained by that. It's definitely, when we went and watched it, me and my brother were, obviously we were very confused, but we were following the story. I never had an issue following the story, for the most part. The only thing that I didn't understand when I watched it the first time was all the stuff dealing with the woman. And her name has slipped my mind at the moment, but the stuff dealing with her and the painting confused me. The first time I watched it, I was following the spy story just fine. And then when they started doing stuff like this, I was like, I remember them talking about it, but I don't remember what's going on with this. Obviously, after I watched it a second time, it was perfectly clear to me, and every time I've watched it since, it just gets better and better. That car sequence, the highway, and that specifically that shot of the wreck happening in reverse is one of the coolest shots I think it ever been put to film. So I just had to pause it to say that. I'm gonna start it back up though. So maybe. Beautiful. Amazing. I love Tenet. Like I said, I'm gonna have to go watch it again now. Alright, I think Dunkirk is next. Let's watch some Dunkirk. I'm just gonna let it play right on through. Tell you. Go follow these guys. When it comes to Dunkirk, Dunkirk is one of my favorite war movies there is. If you can even, it's not even really a war movie, I wouldn't say. You know, it's a movie that takes place during a war. And it's about soldiers, but to me, it's not necessarily a full-on war movie. To me, it's a dramatic experience. You know, with the people on the boats that are, the civilians that are coming to help rescue these soldiers, the captain on the pier, the pilot, with Tom Hardy, and then obviously the kids, just trying to stay alive. Dunkirk is probably one of my favorite war movies, if not up there with my favorite war movies. I think it's probably the most. It is, for me. It's between this one and Interstellar for the most beautiful Christopher Nolan movie. I think some of the shots in this movie are just absolutely beautiful. Pretty much everything from the plane and the shots of the beach and everything. Even though the subject matter and even the the actual, what's in the scene itself may not even be that beautiful, but the shot and just the way it looks and the cinematography is just so gorgeous in this movie. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and press play, but man. That's what I was talking about. The shots from the plane are beautiful. All these mounted shots are just. If I created something like this, I would cry. Like I said in the last video, I would probably cry. Beautiful. Beautiful. Mm. Beautiful. Mm. Beautiful movie. I love Dunkirk. Now it's making me want to watch that one again too. I may just have to go through and do just a Christopher Nolan watch, and just watch along and maybe even do like a. I know one of the big ones that I've been watching lately on here is movie reactions, people watching movies for the first time. Um, there's a channel called Popcorn in Bed. Very entertaining first watches. Another one, I think her name is Vivian Reacts. Another great one that I've been watching. So a big thing has been these movie reactions. People watching things for the first time, and while it wouldn't be a first watch for me, I think maybe that'd be something that I'd enjoy doing is just watching these movies. Along watching them with other fans of Christopher Nolan, because usually I'm just watching these by myself. So maybe that's something I might do too in the future, is just do a watch through and record it along the way. And obviously there's some things I haven't seen, not with Nolan, but some things I haven't seen, that maybe if people want to see it, they could let me know, and it's something I could check out. All right, so the next one, Interstellar. Like I said, I think Dunkirk and Interstellar are his two most beautiful movies. I think the cinematography is the best in those two. Everyone always says Inception is the best, but to me, Inception, while it's I love Inception. It's a great movie. It's fun. It's an awesome concept, and it's the cast is amazing. It's not my favorite Nolan movie. I don't know. I love it, but I think people hold Inception on such a high pedestal, and some of his other movies have been kind of negatively impacted by that. People comparing things to Inception and stuff, and I think that's missing the point of his filmography. He's continuing to expand and try new things and everything, and I think in doing that it requires a fresh watch with each movie rather than comparing them to his last movie. I love Inception though, I will say that, but Interstellar's the next one, so I'm gonna go ahead and get it started. I love this channel. Again, go follow these guys right here. Like I said, I don't know who they are. No affiliation or anything, but I love their channel. I love the videos that they've put out. They are, for one thing, they're very entertaining. Obviously, I love watching and seeing the beautiful cinematography and stuff, but they're also very inspiring. I see that video right there, and it makes me want to pick up a camera and go out and start filming something. Obviously, it's not that easy, being shot on IMAX and with old planes and everything. A lot of pretty much everything done in camera. Obviously, it's not that easy. Man, but it does. It's inspiring, and it gets me excited about filmmaking and stuff. So, love the work these guys are doing. It'd be awesome to see my films on something like this one day, where people are looking at my films and going, you can see the influence here. So, I don't know, it's a dream. But yeah, so let's get to the next one. Love this movie. still to this day one of the most emotional movie scenes for me. That scene right there. Matthew McConaughey does some fantastic acting in this movie, and this scene right here is exceptional. I watch it and it takes everything in me not to get emotional watching this scene. It's such a heartbreaking scene that's acted to perfection and it's shot to perfection. I love this movie. Love this movie. Beautiful movie. I'm telling you, I love. Obviously, anybody could tell, by the theme of this channel, and obviously by my profile and some of my merch and my banner in the back of my Twitch and everything. I love space. I mean, just look at this. Oh, I mean, just look at that. And that one. And that one. I love space. I love everything to do with space. If I could have a dream come true, I would love to have a house that's in orbit, with ceiling to floor windows that I can just look out into just the vastness of space and the beauty of space, and just orbit the Earth. That would be a dream right there. Love space, and Interstellar is probably my favorite sci-fi movie, if not one of my favorite. But I think it might be. Switch that around. It's one of my favorite, if not my favorite. I'd be pressed to say it might be my favorite sci-fi movie of all time. It affects me in a different way that other sci-fi movies don't. And of course, I love the sci-fi horror movies. You got the obviously Alien and Aliens. You could even throw. No, I won't even do that one. But you could. I mean, movies like Sunshine and 2001: A Space Odyssey and movies like that definitely they are amazing and they're cool sci-fi movies and stuff, and their impact that they had on the world is just massive. Maybe not Sunshine, but the rest of them. But Interstellar to me just it reaches me in a way that the others don't. and it's all down to just the way Christopher Nolan wrote and directed it, and the way Matthew and Anne Hathaway and the cast played it, and the way Hans Zimmer scored it, and there's just it's almost to the point where I'd call it lightning in a bottle, but he catches lightning in a bottle every time for me, where all his movies are just he's just cranking out the best movies that exist. To me, I can't even call that lightning in a bottle because he does it over and over again. It's amazing. All right, next movie. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Dark Knight Rises. Inception. Inception. I was way late to Inception as opposed to the way the other movies were. Obviously, like I said, I started with the Dark Knight trilogy. That was my introduction to Nolan, as I'm sure a lot of people, share that, being how popular the Dark Knight trilogy was. And for me, I watched the Dark Knight trilogy, and then the order it probably that I think it went in. I'm pretty sure it went Dark Knight trilogy. Then I watched The Prestige, then Dunkirk, and Interstellar, and Insomnia, Memento, then Inception, and then obviously Tenet was the newest one. I was a lot later to Tenet when it comes to his filmography, or not Tenet, Inception. I guess you can't be any later to Tenet than his last movie, his most recent. But I was a lot later to Inception, as far as his filmography goes. So it's interesting, just to see how much of an impact it's had, looking back, because, it's been out for, what is it now? It's 2010. So what is that, going on 12 years? This movie's been out, and just seeing the impact that, it had and what it did for Christopher Nolan, because obviously he was big, he had The Dark Knight, it was his biggest movie at this point, and it was a huge success. And so Christopher Nolan was big, but this movie seems to have kind of solidified who he was as a filmmaker, because it solidified the high concept type stuff, a dream within a dream within a dream, and, dream thieves, and being able to share dreams, and architects and stuff like that. It's just so much and such high concept, and now where we are now with Tenet and stuff, it's not as high concept anymore. But this movie seems to have solidified the style of filmmaking that Christopher Nolan is known for now. It seems like Inception kind of encapsulates all of that. I love this movie. Again, this is another one. The cast was spot on. Obviously, you've got Leonardo DiCaprio, who I think is a fantastic actor. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, fantastic. Tom Hardy, one of my favorites. Cillian Murphy, one of my favorites. It's just a star-studded cast, and with his directing and then Hans Zimmer's amazing score, it's no wonder that this movie has had the impact that it has. So I'm gonna go ahead and press play and stop rambling, but I love these movies. Bro. Nope, something I wanted to do. Beautiful. It makes me. I just needed to do a Nolan watch through. That's probably what's going to end up happening. Um. So yeah. Obviously, I still have the Dark Knight trilogy, the Prestige, Memento, Following, and then the big compilation. I think I'm going to do a part 2 to this video. Because we're creeping up on 2.5 hours, and it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, this is just stuff I enjoy talking about, and nobody else enjoys listening to me talk about. So whether anybody who's watching this finds this entertaining or not, I need this, and I enjoy this, and it means a lot to me to be able to do this, and I just hope that there's somebody out there, at least somebody, who finds this entertaining or insightful or interesting or whatever. I enjoy doing this, and this is topics that I'm extremely passionate about, and things that I hold very near and dear to my heart. And, I just hope that there's someone out there, watching who feels the same way. So I think I'm going to do a part 2 to this video. Kill the bee. That's, look at that. Being required. But yeah, I think I'm going to do a part 2 to this video. I certainly enjoyed talking about Christopher Nolan, and I knew I couldn't squeeze in all the influence that he's had on me into one video. And we can pick up on the next video and we can do the rest of the, amazing shots like that. But then also I'd like to maybe even talk a little bit more in depth, and maybe even do some of the behind the scenes stuff with Christopher Nolan. So that I'll save that for a part 2. But yeah, so that's been part 1 for Christopher Nolan. And I think before we go, I do want to make a couple of announcements on here. One of those being the kind of the goal for the end of the year with this series. So obviously every Monday is the goal for this show specifically. Every Monday, talking about movies leading up to. Actually, let me pull up my calendar here so I can see. Okay, so we have 4 Mondays left. Or no, we have 3 more Mondays left in this year. On the third one, which is the 27th, I'm going to be live premiering on here The Good Samaritan, which is my most recent film being made. So we have 2 more normal episodes, and then on the 27th, I'm going to be doing a live premiere. Actually, give me 1 second real fast. Okay. I don't know why. Hold on, let me edit that real fast. For some reason, the music is not playing. There we go. Okay, let me see. Still not working. Okay. I don't know why the music is not continuing to play. Oh well. I'll figure it out later. So, what was that? Yeah, I do. So that's kind of the goal that I wanna reach by the end of the year is on the 27th live premiere of The Good Samaritan. Doing all this build up towards it. You know, we're talking about influences and showing home movies and stuff, and watching it live on here. You know, as the episode, and then continuing the show after that. But that's kind of the goal. So what I want to do for obviously we have this one and 2 more normal episodes. I want to play the trailer to the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the trailer. For those of you who have already seen it, I'm going to be playing it again. And for those of you who maybe didn't see it, because I know I played it on the first episode, I don't think I played it on the last one. But I'm going to play it on this one. So for those of you who haven't seen it yet, this is the trailer to my most recent film that I worked on. And this is probably my most proud project I have. I'm definitely extremely proud of the result. Had to compromise in a lot of different areas, been working on this film since 2018, and we started it and made a lot of beginner mistakes, from the get-go, specifically within the first 15, 16 minutes, there's a major mistake that watching it now really bugs me. But we fix it, and then, you just see there are little mistakes here and there, things that when I watch it now, it's a learning experience, and I see these things and I go, okay, now I know. See, over the course of this, we fixed, the way we were shooting. And it's like, okay, now we've got that fixed. And then we fixed the way we were editing. And then we fixed this and we fixed that. And now I look at it and I think, okay, so now I know the audio is something that for my next film is going to be something I really pay attention to, because now I have made a film and I've got to hear it and see, okay, this is something that needs improved on. But this is the peak of my personal filmmaking, and as well as just the other people involved. My brother was big involved with it. He's obviously he's the main star of this movie, but he's also a big, he's a big co-writer with me. He does a lot of co-writing with me. He has a lot of ideas and stuff that me and him throw back and forth. A lot of the story is from me and him just talking and coming up with it together. So, obviously it's got a very special place for me, obviously, but it's also the closest I've gotten to making this dream a reality. And I've talked about it before that I'd like to get it on Amazon Prime. I don't think it's going to be something that's possible yet, because, and I say yet, probably not at all, for Amazon Prime, because some of the music, being, very amateur filmmakers and stuff, with shooting with zero budget, can't afford to hire a composer, and I don't have the equipment to compose myself. At least I didn't at the time. So used a lot of licensed music. Some of it I think is okay, because a lot of the music is from the 80s. So I think we would be fine there, but there are specifically one song in the movie that I know for a fact is going to get me flagged And so I'm not sure yet on the kind of the rules and regulations for Amazon Prime, but I'm gonna try. I've been trying. I've been in contact with people over at Amazon, trying to see, kind of requirements. What are they, what do they prohibit and stuff like that. So I can, for one, I can know about for this film, but then in the future, I know kind of what to expect. So it's very exciting for me. It's like I said, it's a huge milestone in this journey that I'm on, and now you all are on with me, and I'm excited for y'all to see it. It's definitely out of the box. It's a little different than what most people were expecting. I keep calling it the press tour because that's the equivalent of what it was. It was, we were driving around to the different, we were driving around the country, showing people. Those people were family and friends, but that's besides the point. We were going out of state and we were showing the movie. We were premiering the movie. So I call that a press tour. Hiccup there. But, and one of the things that a lot of people said when they watched it, was this is nothing like I expected it to be. Because we showed the trailer and people kind of got their ideas set for the trailer, and then when they saw the movie, they were like, "This is so different than I was expecting," and that's pretty much the unanimous reaction to this movie, in a good way. Everybody seems to like it, and that's exciting. For one, because everybody likes it, and we all had a good time. But two, it's it makes me proud. Because I feel like people see it, and I feel like it's more justified when people like your work. You always feel a little more justified when there's a demand for it. And I'm not saying there's a demand for it by any means, but I'm just saying it feels more validated when you can entertain people, and when you can talk to people and they tell you how much fun they had and how much they enjoyed it, and when you realize this is something that I had control over. I created something that brought joy to somebody. That's a very important thing to feel. It's very important to feel. By no means am I a professional, and by no means is this movie professional, but it's the closest I've gotten to that point, and I'm excited for, where this journey is going to take, me and us, because we're a family now. We're all in this together now. And you're getting to just walk along this with me. And I'm excited. I hope, there's somebody out there watching that is excited as well. And it would be, it'll be awesome one day when, you can see, I don't know. I think about it all the time, and it's definitely something to be desired. I have always dreamed of this, and I just think, if this was to actually manifest, and I was to see a career blossom out of just all the hard work and stuff that's gone in over the past few years into making stuff like this, and it's exciting, and I can't wait for stuff like that to happen. But without further ado, I'm going to play the trailer, and so everybody can see the trailer to this movie, and yeah, and then we'll go from there. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and swap it over. Here we are. So, The Good Samaritan is the name. 2021. It was released in June. Is when it officially come out, and we're going to premiere it December 27th on Monday night, 7 o'clock. That's when the stream is going to start. We're going to premiere it right here. I'm going to make sure it's fine-tuned, because right now, I'm noticing right now that with the video, it's kind of, when I share a video like this, it's not smooth. It kind of jumps around. The frame rates are off, and I have it like that because it helps with the quality of the overall stream, even though the video itself, it's got that glitchy look. Especially when there's a lot happening, the video, it's got a very glitchy look. But it helps with the overall stream. But when I do premiere the movie, I'm going to set it back to normal, and then I'm going to be quiet, and I will probably actually even remove me off of there, because there's no need to see me on there, and I'm just going to be taking up screen space, So I'll probably take, the camera off of there, and we'll just watch the movie together, and then obviously at the end we'll pop back in. So that's what I'm thinking how we're gonna do it. Obviously, like I said, I'm gonna change the settings when we do it so it runs smoother for the video. Hopefully the overall quality stays up. Obviously we'll run some tests and stuff before, because I'd hate to start, running the movie and then experience problems, because you don't want that to happen in a movie. So I'd rather do it, beforehand and get all the kinks worked out and then show the movie. So that's the way we're gonna do it. But anyways, I'm gonna press play. I could just start rambling all day, so I gotta cut myself off. So I'm gonna press play. This is the trailer to my most recent film, come out in June, and I'm excited for y'all to see it. This is, we're gonna be premiering it and just so here we go. Nope, wrong one. There we go.
What's this thing on? All right. So, I've been experiencing some
Real quick. There. Now.
I've been experiencing some really weird stuff going on in this house.
Anxiety. He got killed by 2 rampage detectives. I have no idea what it is.
All right. Nope. It just starts auto playing into something else. For anybody, oh, hold up, I'm glitched up. There we go. For anybody who hasn't yet, I have a YouTube channel. It's the same name, Young Queasy or whatever, on YouTube, and I also have the second channel, which is dedicated solely to the filmmaking, which is called Cusbro Films, which is our studio. You can see it right here. There we are, right there. Go ahead and get it full. So this is the this is the YouTube channel for the official, for the page, the official channel for the page. Go like and subscribe. We're definitely. I have some more projects down the road. Obviously, my ambition is a lot higher than my resources right now. But there are things in the works that I have going right now that when things start, when I do have things line up, then there's going to be some great stuff coming out. And I have a couple of, I have at least 3 scripts that are written. A few, or I wouldn't say scripts as much as screenplays. I don't do so well with, like I said, I don't enjoy writing dialogue, so I have ways for dialogue, but I really do a lot of cinematography work when it comes to the writing and stuff, because that's where I think I'm at my best. So yeah, like I was saying though, there's I've got several screenplays already written, a couple of them that are in the works right now. I showed you one right here that I'm currently in the middle of, and maybe we'll have episodes where I talk more about writing and just kind of the process and everything, and some of the problems that I run into, and some of the strong, some of the strong points and the weak points, and just the highs and lows of writing and stuff. Maybe I'll do something like that, because that is another topic that I'm very passionate about, that I pretty much keep to myself. So it would be interesting, I think, maybe to explore that with all of y'all. But yeah, so if there's anything, if I don't really know what I was about to say. I'm excited, and I can't wait when I'm finally able to, just sit back when I'm able to just dive in and make a full professional project. That is, industry standards. I'm excited for that, and I have a lot of things in place that are ready to go as soon as I'm ready. Because I know right now, as much as I want to do it right now, I know that I am not completely ready to tackle a project like that. Even though it's stuff that I've written personally, I don't think I am quite yet where I need to be to justify, bringing them to life. When it comes to, just, my headspace and mentally, just where I'm at, and some of my weaknesses and stuff, when it just comes to, who I am, and like I said, where I'm mentally at. So I don't think I'm completely there yet, but when I'm ready, I have everything lined up to create an amazing, and I can't talk, an amazing project. For me anyways, amazing to me. I won't speak for everybody. Everybody might not think it's that amazing, but for me, just the ability to say that I have the opportunity to create, a film that I've written, that's already beyond what I could have asked for. And so everything past that is just bonus, cherry on top type stuff. So I'm extremely excited for just kind of where this journey is going to lead. I'm excited for the things that are already in the works that are, soon to be brought to life. And I'm excited just to experience all that with y'all, and to have, people by my side, as all this happens, so I'm excited. I'm trying to think of some other announcements I wanted to make for tonight's episode. Oh yeah. Thursday, as I said it at the beginning, I'm going to say it again. Ding Nation, podcast, special guest Noah Babcock. I'm going to send out a tweet. So if you don't follow me on any of the social media, go follow me over there, Twitter, is the main one where I do all of the channel updates and all the updates for the show and stuff, what to expect for future episodes and things, live updates, with current events and everything that we're doing. So Thursday, 7 o'clock, Ding Nation podcast with special guest Noah Babcock. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. But I think it's going to be very inspirational. Like I said, it's going to be more of a, y'all are going to get to see more of my professional side, which I think is going to be completely new to the channel because I've been nothing but a goofball since I started this thing. So y'all get to see, I get to share a little bit more of who I am with y'all, and I'm excited for that. So that's Thursday, so make sure come out and watch that. You can watch it live. Obviously, it's going to be on the channel, and then I'm going to be posting it to the YouTube as well. So follow me, go subscribe to me on YouTube. You can subscribe to the page here. This is the film page, but I'm going to go to my official one. Y'all can go subscribe to me on here as well. So here I am. Obviously, you can see I already have some. Obviously, Ding Nation 1, episode 1 and 2 are both on here. I have a playlist for it. Did some gaming on here. I I don't know. I'll stick to doing the shows on YouTube. But yeah, go, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Twitch, and if there's anything you want to see on these future, don't, feel free to reach out. Like I said, I have my social media linked. Definitely Twitter is probably the best place to reach me. That's where I'm the most active, especially in regards to the channel and stuff like that. I'm the most active on Twitter, so be sure if there's anything that you want to reach out about, hit me up on there. Go on there and you follow me, and even if you don't want to reach out, that's the best place for channel updates. As well as merchandise as well, because I do have the merch store, which is also linked on the channel if you want to go check that out. Have a couple of designs that are already there. Have several more that are on the way. I have one for each of the shows, so I have a Memoirs design that's being worked on right now. I have a Ding Nation design that's going to be coming pretty soon, as well as just individual ones. One for Killa B, obviously, y'all know him as the rage machine for the game. He's the rage machine, and have his design coming through. I have one for G Piggy, who's the quiet one. The one that always comes in clutch. He's the we have one coming for him. So y'all just I'm either way, I'm having a blast doing this. And I just hope that I help somebody else have fun. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about having fun and just enjoying what little time we have here. And if we get to have that time together and enjoy each other's company, that's all the more of a plus. And I love every one of y'all who have been here since the beginning, or even just are new, or maybe you haven't even followed yet. You're not even a part of the family yet. Maybe you're watching this in the future. This is like a time traveling. Right now, it's like I'm time traveling. I'm telling you, welcome to the family before you're even here. But yeah, this is the Ding Nation family. For everybody who joins, you are now a Ding. You are now a part of the Kingling Dings, and we couldn't be happier to have you here. So I appreciate everybody who listened to me ramble on for almost 3 hours about movies. I don't know if I would have listened to me for that long, so I'm definitely impressed if there's anybody out there who has listened to me for this long. But I hope that everybody had a good time. Like I said, I'm all about having fun, and this is just supposed to be fun. This is what I enjoy, and I just hope that there's somebody out there who feels like they belong here. So I appreciate everybody who stopped out, and we will catch you tomorrow night, which is the Resident Evil 2, I think is what we're playing. It's me and G Piggy. We're playing through the story mode. It's co-op. It's Revelations 2. just Resident Evil 2. But I think it's Resident Evil Revelations 2. And I've never played it. I have the game, me and him both. Neither one of us have played it. I've never even opened the game. This is going to be a first-time playthrough for the channel. That starts tomorrow, so be sure if you're interested in gaming or horror or just having a good time, be sure you stop out for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Wednesday is going to be the first ever episode like this. It's going to be probably the most different of anything else on the channel here. I've been talking with some people, and a lot of people recommended this to me. For anybody who knows me, knows I love music. I try to be anyways, a musician myself. I play a little bit of everything on everything, and I just love music. It's very important to me, and there are a lot of the people who know me know that, and they've been telling me, why don't you do any music channel, do some live music on your channel. And I just never thought it sounded that interesting. And I was talking about it the other day with somebody, and he said, you don't have to just get on there and play. You could do like a Q&A type deal where you're playing and you're practicing, because you're going to be practicing anyway, so you might as well practice and go live while you practice and just do a Q&A, just talk to people. Whoever wants to pop in and just answer questions and stuff like that, that might be fun. And I thought that sounded genius. So Wednesday is going to be the day where I'm going to try it. It's just experimental. I'm going to see if that's something that people even enjoy. We're going to be playing some music on here, just doing a live practice for me, and going to be answering some questions, doing a Q&A, just going to be answering some questions, talking about whatever y'all want to talk about. That is y'all's episode with me practicing my instruments in the background. So be sure to stop out for that if that sounds interesting to you. Like I said, it's an experimental episode, experimental style, so we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. Thursday, obviously, Ding Nation with Noah Babcock, special guest. Be sure to stop out for that. Friday is our gaming night where it's just all-out chaos. Going to be streaming the game. It's going to be Warzone Pacific by that point. I'm pretty sure. And so be sure to stop out for that. It's going to be a blast. Obviously, got all the crews going to be there. It'll most likely be Warzone Pacific, but it may be, Friday the 13th or Dead by Daylight or something like that too. You never know. So Friday is just a chaotic night, and y'all just have a wonderful week. I hope everybody has just a blessed week and has a lot of fun. And when we meet back up again tomorrow night and every other night, throughout the week, y'all have so much more good news to tell me. All right, so I think that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you for tuning out. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Memoirs of an Aspiring Filmmaker, Chapter 3 on Christopher Nolan. There will be a part 2 to this one, as well as to the fight scenes one. So just keep your eyes and ears open. All right, it's been fun. Y'all have a good one.